Hello everybody, Ed0626 here. Welcome back to another episode on the channel. I'm glad you all stopped by today. And when was the last time you've seen Star Wars Battlefront 2 content on this channel? It's been a really long fucking time, hasn't it? I haven't uploaded a fucking gameplay of this in God knows how long, but I was playing this game with my buddy Mike, aka Panama Red. We are part of the Bromigos podcast. Links for that down in the description below. Please check it out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Video podcasts air every Wednesday. Audio airs every Monday that week as well. So we would greatly appreciate your support. And you can also follow me and all the other links down in the description below. Thank you ahead of time for that. So I was thinking about this not too long ago. And I don't want to drone on and on about it, but I was thinking about how back in 2005, when Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, came out, and for a while, there wasn't really a whole lot of Star Wars content that was coming out in terms of, TV, more or less. You know, we had the Clone Wars that was in 2008, and it lasted for a couple of years. Fantastic show, legendary Star Wars programming, as far as I'm concerned, personally. And then maybe we had some cool Star Wars products. Star Wars Legos was really doing well over the course of those couple of years during the Clone Wars. And, you know, I kind of staggered out of it as I got older because I just didn't have the time or the money anymore. And, of course, they were always making sets, but, you know, it's not really content. It's not really watchable content. It's a product, but it's not content. And then the sequel trilogy came out. And depending on who you ask, the sequel trilogy really had a lot to be desired when it comes to the overall story of the Skywalkers. And I was more or less left a little bit disappointed for a lot of reasons. I'm sure many people within the fandom were too. I'm not going to get too much about that because I know it's very divisive. But we had these sequel movies from the original trilogy. And, you know, they weren't fantastic. You know, the overall trilogy wasn't that great. So I feel like over time during that period, they had to make up for what was being more or less disappointing content in the movies, and they had to start making a lot of television shows. For instance, they had Star Wars Rebels, which came out after Clone Wars. And to be honest with you, I didn't really watch Rebels because to me it was too childlike and too kiddie. I didn't like the animation style and all that. It just wasn't my cup of tea, so I never really watched it. I heard it got better, but it just wasn't something I wanted to watch. And then you had The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2. Peak television. Immaculate television. A great viewing experience as far as I'm concerned. And then you have Clone Wars Season 7. A perfect ending to what I consider to be one of the most perfect television shows I've ever seen in my life. But then they just kept adding more. They kept adding more stuff. The Book of Boba Fett came out. That Star Wars anime samurai show came out, which I heard it was pretty solid. I just never got the chance to watch it. The Bad Batch came out, which is a spin-off of Clone Wars. I still haven't seen that. Andor. There's more series coming out. There's so much more stuff that's coming out. And I think about this and I'm like, holy shit, if I don't have Disney Plus right now. I haven't had Disney Plus since the second season of Mandalorian ended. I just don't have it in the budget to buy anything in regards to that right now. But when I go back to it eventually, I feel like I'm going to be under a daunting task to watch all of that Star Wars content. It's a lot. It is a lot. And to be honest with you, just hearing news of new shows coming out or that are being developed, I feel as though, personally, that there's almost a sense of burnout that's going to occur. I don't know if I'd say sooner rather than later, but it's definitely eventually going to happen in the fan base where there's just so much Star Wars content coming out that people are going to be like, oh, God, another Star Wars fucking show or project or something. That's how I feel like Marvel's at right now. Marvel, I feel like, is hitting that burnout stage, and I feel like have been hitting that burnout stage ever since Endgame. Where it's like, I know people that are fans of Marvel are going to watch everything regardless, but casual moviegoers are going to be like, oh, another Marvel movie? That's how kind of like how I am. I don't like superhero movies all that much. I don't like Marvel all that much. But every time I see a new Marvel movie advertised, I'm like, oh, another one. Jesus, like, can't they just take a break for Christ's sake? Because it's just been nonstop movies ever since, like, Iron Man. That's all it's been. It's nonstop fucking films to create this whole cinematic universe. And for fans, that's great. But for a viewer, it's like, how much of the movies are you going to watch? You know, especially when all these movies are intertwined and you have to watch them a specific way to get to one certain point. And it's like, daunting is the word I would use for something like that. And I feel like Star Wars is going to hit that point in some way, shape, or form eventually. I made a video a very long time ago about how, like, oh, I'm excited for all these new shows that are coming out. A lot of them, I think, or at least a decent portion of them, have since been canceled, those projects, which is disappointing because some of them looked like really cool ideas on paper. At this point in time, I'm not really super excited for them because I just feel like there's so much fucking Star Wars content that's being released like every couple of months out of the year. It's just a lot. Again, I said before, and I'll say it again in regards to Marvel, people that are hardcore fans of Star Wars like Marvel are going to watch everything regardless. But for some people like me that are like, I don't want to say I'm a casual Star Wars fan. I really, really enjoy Star Wars and I enjoy the universe and I enjoy the content that they've been putting out in regards to, say, games and products. But at some point in time, it's like, there's just so much of it. It almost feels kind of boring to an extent. And maybe boring's not the right word, but it just feels stale. Because what else could they possibly do? I know there's the whole expanded universe that Disney canned to make its own canon years and years ago when they bought the fucking IP. What are they possibly going to do at this point? You know? At this point, for me, the only thing that really matters in regards to Star Wars is the games. The games are really what matter to me the most. Like Lego Star Wars, I've talked about it. I really enjoy that game a lot. And then you have other games that are planned to come out, like Jedi Survivor, which is the continuation of Jedi Fallen Order. Like, that looks cool, but I didn't play the first one, so it's like, okay, it wasn't my cup of tea. I heard it was great, though. You know, games are really where my focus is kind of right now, and Legos, again. You can't go wrong with Star Wars Legos, in my opinion, but that's a different story for a different time. Anyway, I don't want to drone on and on about this. I just wanted to have a casual conversation about it. And I don't want people attacking me or anything. I know I kind of said some blasphemous things in regards to Star Wars and Marvel and all that shit, but it's just like, it's just an opinion, man. I just want to know if there's anybody else that feels this way right now, because I feel like this, and I haven't even watched half the shows, like I said. Like, I'm sure all the shows are great in their own way, but at the same time, holy shit, there's a lot of it, and it appears like it's not going to stop anytime soon. So, we'll have to see where it goes. But as far as I'm concerned, once again, please follow me on all the links down in the description. Social media, podcasts, go check that out. And of course, take care of yourselves. And most importantly, take care of each other. Have a great day.